I'll try to be brief, but my name is Annette Shattuck, and I'm here today because my family and I are victims of civil asset forfeiture. Like Jen, our cases are related, and my husband and I have 4 children, 9, 7, 4, and 4, including one adopted son with special needs. We were raided on July 28, 2014, and in those raids, the Drug Task Force of St. Clair County executed a no-knock search warrant on my home where my 4 children were with my mother, who's 56 years old, who was clipping coupons at the time. After they breached my door, they, at gunpoint with masks, they proceeded to take every belonging in my house. And when I say every belonging, I mean every belonging. They arrested my mother and confiscated her phone and such, which was not returned after she was not charged criminally. They never returned her phone. And they subsequently hung my lingerie from my ceiling fans, left feces in my toilet, took every box of food and cereal from my pantry, emptied them in a pile, and crushed them. My children's artwork was on the floor with boot prints on it, and all my children's Christmas presents were gone as well. My daughter's birthday was 6 days prior to the raid, and she had a stack of birthday cards from her party on her desk. They opened every card and removed the money out of it for a total of $85, which is listed in our forfeiture list of things they seized. My husband did construction for 15 years. They seized every saw, every hammer, every tool, our lawnmower, our bicycles, our weed whip, and if that wasn't enough, they took the birth certificates of all my children, my adoption paperwork, my bridge card, my insurance cards for all of my children's car seats, which they refused to return and made my sister-in-law transport them illegally to her home. And the list goes on and on and on. So then after you're raided and you come home, I have a $1 million hold on all of my bank accounts, which is current today. The adoption subsidy I get for my special needs son, who was born addicted to crack and heroin, is seized by the hold that they have on my account. I'm unable to get the money. We finally, because I didn't have a driver's license or a social security card, also seized. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. If you could tell me how my children's birth certificates and insurance cards are relative to civil asset forfeiture, I would love to know. But once I had no money, no access to anything, no vehicles to transport my kids to, all of their soccer equipment that was in the back of the cars, I can't even get them food because I don't even have the bridge card. I can't do anything for them. My daughter is 9 years old. She sees a psychiatrist every month. She goes to a counselor every other week. She's currently on Prozac. If you ride in a car with her and a police officer drives by, she asks, "Is it coming to my house?" She cried for weeks because she thought our dog was getting shot because they threatened to shoot our dog that started barking when they broke into the home. She doesn't want to sleep in her bedroom anymore. How do you explain to your kids when they come home and everything is gone? My son, where is my Xbox? My daughter, where's my birthday money? Where's my soccer ball? Where is my bicycle? And this is why civil asset forfeiture is problematic, and my husband and I have not been convicted of any crime to date.
Who conducted that raid?
St. Clair County Drug Task Force.
Okay.
Easy Money, Civil Asset Forfeiture Abuse by Police. By Chloe Coburn, Advocacy and Policy Council, ACLU. On November 18, 2009, Shakri Simmons, who is African American, was driving with his business partner on the highway from Macon, Georgia, back to Atlanta after selling his cherished Chevy Silverado truck to a restaurant owner in Macon for $3,700 of sorely needed funds. As Mr. Simmons passed through Lamar County, he was pulled over by 2 patrol officers who stated no reason for the stop, but instead asked Mr. Simmons numerous questions about where he was going and where he had been, and even separated him from his business partner for extended questioning. The officers searched both people and the car, finding no evidence of any illegal activity. A drug dog sniffed the car and did not indicate the presence of any trace of drugs. Notwithstanding the total lack of evidence of criminal activity and Mr. Simmons's explanation that he was carrying money from selling his truck, the officers confiscated the $3,700 on the suspicion that the funds were derived from illegal activity, pursuant to their authority under Georgia's civil asset forfeiture law. Despite the fact that Mr. Simmons mailed his bill of sale and title for the truck to the officer, He was told over the phone that he would need to file a legal claim to get his money back. For most people in Mr. Simmons's position, the story would end there. To challenge this activity and get their money back, victims of seizures bear the burden of initiating a claim for the money. If no claim is filed, the police can keep the money. It is unlikely that regular folks whose money is taken will be equipped to seek out the appropriate statute and comply with the requirements for making a claim. While lawyers are available to do this work, the price is high. In Georgia, a standard retainer fee is $5,000. Many people lack the resources to pay that price, and even if they had them, it would not make sense to pay more than the value of the seized funds. Luckily for Mr. Simmons, he spoke to a lawyer who referred his case to the ACLU, which became involved in December 2009. The ACLU sent a letter to Lamar County Sheriff Larry Waller asserting Mr. Simmons's right to the money and seeking its return. Waller responded that he agreed that the state had no right to the funds, but directed Mr. Simmons to initiate a claim. The ACLU pushed back, and in early January the sheriff returned the money to Mr. Simmons. Asset forfeiture laws create huge incentives for law enforcement officers to police for profit. In 2003, the total amount forfeited to Georgia law enforcement was $38,330,861. Georgia's law permits 1/3 of seizure proceeds to return to local law enforcement, which can be used for any law enforcement purpose except for the payment of salaries or rewards. The rest of the money goes into the local general fund, and must be used for programs such as drug treatment and witness protection. However, in Georgia and most other states, if police want access to more of the money for their budgets, they may turn over a drug-related seizure to the DEA, thereby federalizing the seizure. The DEA does the paperwork, handles any claims to the money by individuals who must sue in federal court, and returns 80% of the money to the police, with no state law strings attached. Police may then use the funds for any law enforcement purpose, including payment of salaries. This process, known as equitable sharing, permits local law enforcement to do an end run around state civil asset forfeiture laws. Reports from other asset forfeiture cases in the media and in lawsuits indicate that police do not seize assets from all equally. Instead, they target those persons they associate with criminal behavior and drug trafficking. The result is a regime of racial profiling of Black and Latino drivers on the highways, who are stopped and stripped of their money based on minimal or non-existent evidence. Mr. Simmons' case demonstrates the extent to which civil asset forfeiture laws, formed to assist officers in fighting drug crimes, are misused against people of color in cases in which there is no evidence of criminal activity. Mr. Simmons was never arrested and never charged. Instead, the sheriff's department took his money, admitted that it has no right to keep the money, and told Mr. Simmons that he must make a legal claim to get it back. The ACLU seeks to challenge this and other civil asset forfeiture law abuses. The era of easy money for police departments by wrongfully taking cash from vulnerable drivers must end. Tags Criminal Law Reform Reforming Police Practices Asset Forfeiture Abuse.